Welcome to Empower to Grow, the podcast. I am your host, Hanan and Basha, the business doctor. Following our conversations with empowered women who woke up one day and consciously claimed, I am more than enough, I am worthy, I am empowered to grow. And along their empowering journey towards realizing their own potential and their quest for growth, they became a beacon of hope and guidance for others. May you also find your inner power to grow. Hello again, everyone. This is our Unchartered discussion of Empower to Grow. This is your host, Hanan and Basha. I still have the lovely Rita Saliba with me today, and she is a health coach, but who also specializes in supporting women treat and heal and manage their fibromyalgia symptoms. And she's also a pranic healer. So there's a bit of a combination there between the energy part and the symptoms part. Let's start at something we didn't discuss in the first episode, Rita. What is fibromyalgia?
That's really interesting. Fibromyalgia is actually, from the functional medicine point of view, is just a collection of symptoms that someone has. So they label it fibromyalgia, right? Okay. So what are those symptoms? Musculoskeletal pain. It's a like nervous system disorder. Okay. There is depression, there is migraines and headache, there is digestive disorders, gut disorders. Mm-hmm. If it is left untreated untreated wrongly, mm-hmm. It can become an autoimmune. It triggers autoimmune diseases. Okay. Like lupus, like MS, rheumatoid arthritis, of course, thyroid, diabetes, and other things. Okay. So this is simply, like, in simple word, what is fibromyalgia?
So then, so you support women to kind of manage their symptoms, or I know, like, just let's go back a step. Functional medicine, for those who have not heard about it, it is not a different form of medicine. It is kind of a raising awareness to understand a discipline, to understand that functional medicine goes to the root causes of whatever the symptoms are. So instead of saying, oh, you've got a headache, let me give you some medicine, or just go out to a neuro surgeon or someone related to that, a doctor related to that, the functional medicine practitioner would go and see what other symptoms you have and then see if they are related, because most of the time these symptoms are related, and most of the time they're triggered by something completely different than headache, something that is not related to your brain, something that could be, as we were talking earlier, a food you're eating, an environmental disturbance, or whatever it is. So now that we're looking at that, so how do you support women to kind of manage their symptoms, or is it going to healing them?
So what I do is I help women who have fibromyalgia, chronic pain, and adrenal fatigue. Adrenal fatigue is one of the symptoms of fibromyalgia. It's one of the annoying symptoms. So I help them manage all of those symptoms. What I mean by manage, it's not like, okay, now I have a little bit, I used to have a lot of pain, now I'm having a little bit of pain. No, managing means I'm in control of all those symptoms, meaning I know what triggers them, and I'm in control of those triggers, right? So when I manage all those symptoms, it means I'm managing my life. Sure. It means the flares will not be, I will not be surprised waking up in the morning and, oh, I'm having a flare. Okay, now I know how my day is going to be. No, I'm not going to be led by fibromyalgia. I'm not going to be driven by the flares. They are not going to dictate my life anymore. Mm-hmm. What I do is that now I'm in control. Yeah. I know what to eat. I know what to do. I know exactly what to do in order not to have a flare. And if they do this for a long period of time, they will be able to reverse fibromyalgia as it never happened before.
Yeah. And that's the amazing part that not a lot of people realize is your body has this amazing ability to heal itself.
Yes.
in spite of whatever disease, ailment, diagnosis that you've got, your body has the
Yes.
ability to reverse it if you give it the right components. And the right components, a good 70 to 80% of these components are in the food. And then you've
Yes.
got the rest, and you've got the exercise, and you've got the stressors, and kind of managing everything else. But it starts with food. It
Exactly.
starts with that, because the food are the building blocks for everything going through your system.
This is the energy, like, because we need food. We do need food. You can go without food for like what, 7 days, but then after that, what will happen? You'll start eating, your body will start eating itself.
Sure.
So we do need food. So it's up to me to decide if the food that I'm putting inside my body, whether it's medicine or poison, I choose, right?
Yeah.
Like since forever, we grow up, we've been conditioned to think about disease and illness as something that is unavoidable.
It's inevitable, yes.
Yeah, something that, okay, I'm growing up, it's okay, I'm supposed to have a back pain.
Yes.
It's okay, I'm supposed to wear glasses right now. I'm supposed to have I don't know, digestive disorder because I'm growing old. Well, I think I might die at the age of 60. No. You can live until 100 years old without having a headache. This means I'm in control of my life. Of course, I cannot control how I die. I can die in a car accident. This I cannot control. What I can control is how I die in a way like a natural death. I'm not going to die lying in a hospital bed, not being able to breathe, right? I'm not going to die because of, I don't know, an autoimmune disease. I'm not even going to die because of cancer, by the way. So this I have control over. And so since I have control over, it means I'm in control.
And that's the amazing thing. When I read about the concept of Ikigai, which is the Japanese concept of finding a purpose in life, and they found that Okinawa in Japan was one of the blue zones in the world, and the blue zones are the areas where there's a population that is over 100 years old, and that's not abnormal for them. And they kind of just did the research and the diagnosis of why these people live to that age and how can they be healthy at 100 plus. And they realized that exactly that, what we're talking about, they did not take any genetic predisposition as a fact in life. They did not assume that growing old. In Japanese language, actually, there is no word for retirement, because once they stop working that thing, that job or whatever they're doing, they move on to do other things. So they still wake up, for example, and they tend to their garden, and they still wake up and they socialize, and they still take care of each other, and they still move, and they still eat healthy, as in they feed themselves the right food, protein for them, like meat-based proteins or fish-based proteins are like 2 to 3 times maximum a week. They have a zest for life that keeps them going, and that keeps generally the diseases of the old, as we would like to think of them, at bay from them. So, and their sense of community and their sense of purpose is one that keeps them going. And I was just listening, actually, Dr. Gundry today. He's also one of the no-names in the field of your mind-body connection and feeding your body the right things and everything, such as Dr. Amen and Dr. I forgot his name right now, the one with the functional medicine, one of the founding people of functional medicine. I can't remember.
Mark Hyman, Dr. Mark Hyman.
Of course, I can't believe I forgot his name. But they all come together to talk about that, to talk about how your food comprises what your health would turn out to be. When I was doing with IAN, after the health coaching certificate, I did the gut health course. It's a kind of amazing also content there. And when
with IAN too, right?
Yeah. And then I did in December, I did the whole person health, which was talking about exactly what we started talking about. It's about talking about your physical health, emotional health, spiritual health, and your okay, I'm a little lost again today, but the components of what the spiritual, emotional, mental, and physical health, the 4 components of what make up your whole person. But anyway, so in the gut health, one of the first things that they talk about was the fact that your food goes through a 30-foot journey. That's when it goes out in your mouth and out the other side. And imagine that along that journey and along your digestive system and your intestines and everything else, everything you eat is getting broken down and absorbed by your body. So imagine if this is the fuel that you're using to run your engine. Do you want it to be running on sugar? Do you want it to be running on toxins? Do you want it to be running on things that seriously disempower you, on the chemicals, on the preservatives and everything else? Or do you want to give it the best components possible? So the absorption and you're feeding your gut bacteria, which is your microbiome, all of these get to feed on the best things possible.
Exactly.
And I know a lot of people will say it's easier said than done. It is. But you know what? One of the tips and tricks that I learned as well going through the journey was it starts at the supermarket. It's as simple as that. It starts with your choices when you're grocery shopping. And, one of the statements that we learned was if buy what grows, what comes from a plant, not what was made in a plant.
Yes.
So it is those kind of things. It is those small shifts. Not only mindset, but behavioral and habit shifts as well.
Actually, it's shifts on all levels because yes, definitely it has to start with the supermarkets. But then again, you can go to the supermarket and buy all the organic and healthy foods you have, and then you can come home and then empty your cupboards from all the junk foods and then meal prep and plan. And this is very important and necessary for you if you want to start your healing journey. This is need to be done. This is an important step. But if you don't have the right mindset, meaning if you are doubtful about why you are doing this, and if you want, maybe not, you're not certain, right? Like, for example, when you wake up in the morning, are you certain or are you doubtful? If you start your day with doubt, guess what? It's not going to go like the way you want it. But if you wake up in the morning like, I'm going to be healthy today, like I'm going to do everything I can in order for me to be healthy on all levels. I'm going to eat healthy, I'm going to work out, I'm going to work on my mindset, I'm going to work on my relationships, I'm going to make sure in my job and my career, do I love my job? And if I cannot leave my job, like, is it anything that I can do to make it better? It's health and wellness on all level. It's like, I wish it was only food, but I'm sure we all know people who have been healthy throughout their whole life. They do eat organically and they exercise. They don't leave the gym before, finishing 2 hours at the gym, but they end up with cancer. And the comments that I hear about, you see, she used to eat healthy. She used to exercise and she still died with cancer. And so it doesn't work. So you know what? I'm going to keep on drinking alcohol. I'm going to keep on smoking. And I'm going to keep my pizza and my burger and blah, 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 and whatever, you name it. But then I asked them, this person, look into their lives. What do you see? Were they happy? Were they satisfied? Were they loved? Are they loving? Are they expressing themselves? Or were they really taking care of themselves on all levels?
Yes.
On all levels, because again, some people do not eat healthy, do not exercise, but they end up dying at 95-year-old without a simple headache because they are expressing themselves. They are surrounded with love. They are love. They embody love, right? So again, it's a holistic approach, on all levels.
Sure.
Every single level in our life.
True.
So, and it's up to you to see like which level is missing, like which one needs to be tweaked.
Yes.
Right.
But that's the point, is also that, and it's not an overwhelming process of reassessing and redefining and reprioritizing your life. It's just that, again, like with any habit, like with any audit, it has to be one step at a time. It has to be one shift at a time. Because again, a lot of people think that they get overwhelmed by the concept of, I'm going to be healthy. I need a healthy lifestyle. And they try to do everything. I know, I tried, I've been there, I've done that. And I went with the vigorous exercise, extremely vigorous exercise, and the food and the health food and everything. And still I gained weight and I felt not well, excuse me, on so many levels. So that for me also translated. And as we were talking before the show, that's actually what drove me to getting into the health coaching journey. It's just to understand, so what else is happening? So I know that life is not easy. We never said it's easy. We're not denying, we're not saying that you have to be detached from reality to be a healthy person. We're just saying that you have to look at things and decide what you want to control, or what you can control and what you will, and what you can't control, and make peace with some things and make shifts to possibly influence it or not, and take one step at a time. We did not get to this point in our lives with all the stress and everything that is happening overnight. It happened over years. It happened possibly even over decades. And that in itself is an invite to say, okay, it's not that you need to take decades to fix it, or to...
No, it doesn't take decades. It does not take decades. It takes literally like at least 1 to 2 weeks to start feeling and seeing the difference if you do it properly. But again, I need to go back to the mindset thing, because even if you have everything prepared and laid out and you have the best support system, you have a functional medicine doctor and you have a health coach and you have a mindset coach, you have whatever you want, you have a supporting, but you don't have the right mindset, meaning, I don't know if I want to do this. Well, guess what? You will do it and you will fail. Because also, we all tend to, again, going back to the story of being a victim, without, like, we played this card so many times that it's engraved in our subconscious, and we take it out whenever it's possible without us being even aware of it, right? So this is when we start blaming our circumstances. I failed because, and I would give you a list, of things why I would fail. But this means I'm not taking responsibility of my life. If I really want to make a change, if I want to stop pain, if I want to change, if I want to see results, it means I really need to just look at my reality, as awful and as painful as it is, and take inventory.
Yes.
And you know what? Whatever happens in the past, I'm not the past. I'm acknowledging, I'm not condoning. I'm acknowledging what happened, but I'm not that anymore. And I'm moving on. I'm taking the decision to move on, and I'm going to find help. I'm going to find a support system. I'm going to Google search. I'm going to look, I'm not saying that you need to go and hire a coach enable for you to heal. No, I healed without a coach. It took me years. I Google search. I'm a master in research.
Yeah.
Hanan, if you need anything, and if you don't have time, I know what to do online in order to get the information now. Yeah. So there's a lot of free Facebook groups. There are a lot of videos. There are a lot of self-help books, a lot of free things online. You just need to take a decision, and you go and you do your research and make a plan and start applying, or go and hire someone to help you in whatever field you need empowerment in, whatever field. Just where do you need the support? Go and get it. You cannot get it, just go and research for it and start applying. As soon as you take the decision, you know what? I'm not playing this card anymore. I'm taking responsibility for my life, And this is me moving on slowly, but surely.
And that brings us actually to a kind of a point that is attached to that. As a woman, as a mompreneur, as a solopreneur, as an entrepreneur, we also tend to get overwhelmed and feel a bit discouraged and stuff. And we also have to bring ourselves back to the point of, why are we doing this? How can we move forward? Mindset is a huge element of the journey of entrepreneurship in any way. For me personally, I realized that after co-founding businesses and running them for nearly 6 years, 5.5 years, I walked out feeling like I failed because I did not have, again, excuse me, the right mindset of why am I doing this and where do I want to go with it and what am I learning out of it, and appreciating and celebrating everything that I had done in it. And it took me 4 years to go back and reflect on that experience and realize, wow, I did all that. And I did that as a mom. I did that as an expat. I did that without sport. And I keep tapping back into this pool of achievement and gratitude for having done it, to remind myself why I'm doing what I'm doing now. So your experiences as a mom and as a solopreneur and as someone who was also trying to, or putting in the effort to build awareness also about a topic that is not easy, that is not well received in the sense of, oh yeah, sure, yeah, I'd love to do that. Because again, when you talk to people about health, they want to see something. Like, you're not giving them a tangible asset in their hand. You're giving them a whole array of a lifestyle shift. How does that work for you? Yes.
I'm selling beliefs, like being an entrepreneur, a service-based entrepreneur, being a health coach, that's a service, right? And it's a roller coaster still journey for me, because first, of course, starting a business alone, I love the freedom aspect of it. I love freedom, like ditching the 9-to-5 job and not having to answer to someone and not having someone oversee what I do and not liking what I do. And then I need to change my perspective to meet theirs. I'm free of that. So this is a huge step, right? But in order to continue, like you said, it's a mindset thing. But this is when it comes, when I first started, okay, I'm a health coach and I'm supposed to help people. How am I going to get paid for this?
Yes.
Right? It's this concept of, I'm giving a service, but this is for their health. How can I get paid? I'm not a doctor.
Charge for supporting people with their health. I know.
Yep. Exactly. I'm not a doctor. I don't prescribe drugs or medicines or whatever. I just give them guidance and supports. Yes, recipes and
resources.
Yes, programs, whatever. But how am I going to get paid for it? And I had this, kind of like guilt from the inside.
Sure,
like,
that's
my God,
very
normal. It's payment time. It's payment time. How am I going to ask for this? But then I started studying pranic healing, and believe it or not, at the beginning, this made it worth. It's energy healing. At least this is how, and this one is energy healing. It's like you heal someone just with energy, no, energetically, and it happens.
Yes.
Not all people believe in it, but it's a different discussion. But my teacher, actually, I asked him this question, like, how am I going to be paid for energy healing? And I'm also a health coach. And he told me something that really shifted my perspective. And he said, your healing and your coaching doesn't have a price. It's priceless. So you cannot tell people this is the price for my coaching, for my services, for my healing. This is something that is, it's divine. It helps people to, they change their life. It's forever. It doesn't have a price.
Yes.
And I'm like, okay, this is not helpful. I'm like,
so what am I going to charge?
And then he said, but your time has a cost. You can price your time. And I was like, okay. So this, to be honest, shifted my perspective, because of course, time for the coaching, time to prepare for the coaching, the scheduling, writing the program, writing the recipes, tailoring programs to each one, those takes time. So this is the price of your program. This is the price of your time. It's not the price of your healing. It's not the price of your coaching. So this is also like, took me a step further. It gave me this courage to move on in my entrepreneurship business, because okay, now I can move on. I'm not stuck in guilt. How can I move on and be an entrepreneur and be in business and ask people for money? And I'm just a health coach, right?
But that's the point as well. It's not just also about your time. It's also about the value you are adding, and it is about the energy that you had exerted to learn this, to go through it yourself, to pass on your experiential knowledge to them. So I love it, because that for me as well, I had to go through that mindset switch as well. I used to feel very uncomfortable charging my worth. And I'm still also like, kind of my prices are increasing, not because of anything other than the fact that I'm appreciating the value I'm adding, and people are responding in that sense, because before I could not frame it in a way that was that meant that. But more importantly, I had read something recently, and there's this quote kind of that tells you, you're not paying me for the hour that it took me to do the job. You're paying me for the 10 years I put before the hour to be able to learn,
I love that,
and to add the value of what I'm doing for the job. So
I love that.
That for me became that. I'm like, okay, I'm appreciating and I'm valuing the time, my resources. Again, I talk a lot about this, and I'm sure you could have heard it before. Excuse me. It's about, as an entrepreneur, your resources, we usually think the first thing that comes to our mind is money. So, I'm going to invest money to get something. But actually, your resources are your money, your time, your energy, and your knowledge. Other than the number 5 could be either the tangible stuff, or, your human resources, your assets, if you've got any, and physical product and stuff. But in essence, these are the 4. So what I'm doing is I'm investing these 4 in a way to add value to those that I serve. And in essence, they're giving me back on my investment. So my return on investment is being paid for all the money and all the investments of my resources that I put up front to gain that value. So it's one of those topics that, you could talk a lot about it, and you could think a lot about it, but you really have to do the work to get it to shift in a way that serves you and that serves those that you are destined to serve.
Yes, exactly. It's because like it is my purpose. Like I found my purpose when I studied health coaching. This is where I'm like, oh wow, I feel I have a meaning in my life. And I don't mean that my life did not have a meaning before, because I felt my life had a meaning when I had my daughter, right? It changed completely. But this is a totally different purpose. But now they are like interconnected, because I want to show her that you can make your own future. You can be powerful. You can be a businesswoman. You can make your own money without relying on anyone. You don't need a man in your life, right? And I'm not, like, I love my husband. I'm not like,
but you don't need to be dependent in that way.
Exactly. And I always make sure to tell her the stories of my life, but not in a victim way. Again, from a place of look where I've been and look where I am right now. And I want her to see, I want her to see where I am right now, and I want her to be inspired. So I want to be an inspiration for my daughter first, right? And then in my business, I want to be an inspiration for women who have fibromyalgia, to tell them that you can heal. You can. You just need to believe this. And it's not something that I learned at the school. Yes, I learned this and I researched about it, but I've been through this and I've done that. And that's why I know it's doable. That's why I know it happens, right? It's not only something that you read in a book. I read about it and I've seen people go through it, and I watched documentaries and videos about it. But guess what? I did it. And I want them to believe that they can also ditch the victim mentality. Because believe it or not, Hanan, women who have fibromyalgia, they are stuck in the victim cycle plus guilt. If you have fibromyalgia, it means you have guilt.
Yes.
You are driven. This is the emotional, actually, catalyst, right?
Yes.
That the physical catalyst was the stress. Guilt is the emotional catalyst. You feel guilty for everything in your life. I'm not good enough. Well, I'm not a good mother. I'm not a good wife. I'm not a good daughter. I'm not a good friend. I'm not a good business owner. I'm not a good coach. I'm not. And I feel guilty about all of this. Mm-hmm. I need to give myself. And even when I do so, I feel it's not enough. So I feel guilty. So it's a vicious cycle that never ends. So this needs to stop. And once it stops, the healing starts. I promise. And I can guarantee this, as long as they want it.
Right. It's a conscious decision. I love that, Rita. And I know we can go on and on and on, but I'm sure our viewers and listeners are going to have a lot of value out of this. And as you said, it is a conscious decision. First, it starts with, I want to change this. This is not inevitable. This is not a sentence that I have to live with for the rest of my life. And this is something that I could manage. This is something that I could eliminate. And this is something that I could turn around to benefit me rather than it being victim. Thank you so much.
May I add something at the end? It's about the genetic predisposition to have fibromyalgia or cancer or whatever it is. Genes, they are only like 5% of it's 5% only. Like if I have fibromyalgia, it's in my gene because my mother had it and my sister had it. So it's in my gene, but genes are only just 5%. But what triggers those 5% to just, become actually a disease and illness is, again, the food that you put in your body, the amount of exercise, the amount of environmental toxins that you are in, the amount of toxins that you put on your body, inside your body, your emotional state, your mental state. Do you have good relationships in your life or not? Do you love your job or not? So again, all of those trigger the 5% to become the disease and a chronic disease and autoimmune disease. So
that's true. I can never get enough talking about these things because I know that, every day they're discovering something new. Every day they're connecting the dots in a new way, in a way that empowers us to understand and realize that we have a choice. And even if we are diagnosed with whatever it is, that we also get the choice to manage it, to reverse it, to heal it, whatever it is dependent on what we decide to do moving forth.
Exactly.
Rita Saliba, thank you so much for being with us. I loved our talk.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining us. And we hope that you will take control of your life, your health, your inputs, and in a way that serves and empowers your life and gets you out of whatever it is. Life, as Tony Robbins says, life happens for us and not to us. Thank you, everyone, and we'll see you next time. Love, abundance, and prosperity to you all. Thank you for listening to the Empower to Grow podcast. For further engagement with a tribe of empowered women, join my Facebook group, Empower to Grow, or visit my website, www.hananalbasha.com. I'll catch you on the next episode, and until then, know that empowered you empowers others. Love, abundance, and prosperity to you all.